Alright guys, welcome back. We're going to go over the crazy and wild stuff of 2024. Today I've got my buddy Delgaurd with me, and we're just kind of going to go back and forth talking about the stuff that we've experienced over the last year.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'm not that arrogant. I think I can let you go first. Why not?
So January 8th, a malicious computer worm called Stuxnet reported about as a leak, allegedly Devolkscount, a Dutch engineer, claims to have released the malicious worm. He stated that the worm was actually developed by the United States and Israel. Neither country admitted to it, of course. Why would they? And it was uncovered in 2010, though it has been recorded because of him being the one who released it, that it was developed or started the development in 2005. And the worm is a unique computer worm because it's called a marksman worm, meaning your computer has to meet certain conditions for it to affect your computer. This one program attacked an Iranian complex in 2007, disrupting the nuclear program for years. Because, so what it does is, like, if it went into your computer or my computer or anyone else's computer, it wouldn't do anything because we don't have the proper programs for it to recognize, oh, we have to attack that. So it could be in your computer and nothing will happen. Well, it allows, so what the worm does, it specifically targets programmable logic controllers, which allows the automation and electromechanical processes such as gas centrifuges for separating nuclear material. Well, without that program, you can't separate nuclear material. So that's why it put them back for years, disrupting that one nuclear plant that they have over there. And to this day, I don't know if it's up and running, if they got it up and running, because that was in 2007 when it was attacked. And I don't know if the worm still exists or if it doesn't. Because if it still exists, then it's still getting used.
If I remember correctly, that worm specifically targeted like Windows XP or something like that.
Yeah, the older Windows systems.
Right, yeah. If I remember right, I believe I watched this YouTuber, Some Ordinary Gamers. He covers a lot of hacks and stuff like that. So yeah, if I remember cool. Right, that's what that was about. Oh yeah. No, when you get a chance, check him out. So should everyone else. No promo here. Just he's a good guy.
I got a few people in my head that are like good guys, and I'm like, yeah, people should watch these guys more. They're good.
Right. Well, see, funnily enough, that actually leads me to my January funny. So, Some Ordinary Gamers was acquainted with this guy named Mama Max, right? And I'd followed him for years, too. I'm not going to lie.
I'm not trying to, interrupt. What's his name? Summer Gamers?
No, Some Ordinary Gamers.
Oh, Some Ordinary Gamers. Okay.
Oh,
yeah, I went to write that down, and I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right. Some Ordinary Gamers. All right, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, so I followed Mama Max for a long time, too, because I am very anti-pedo.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Like, I don't care about what happens to any pedophile. Not at all.
Oh, you mean repercussions-wise?
Right, yeah. Like, I want the Russian way to deal with them. That's not. I'll have to talk to you off camera on that one.
Okay.
But anyways, so Mama Max used to supposedly go into like pedophiles and stuff and all this stuff. Like, I thought he was doing good work and stuff, right? He tricked a lot of us thinking that he had been. Well, then it comes to find out that in 2023. Pretty sure it's 2023 whenever the initial downfall of Mama Max started happening. He had basically just been faking all these investigations and all these videos and stuff.
No way.
Oh yeah. No, it was pretty bad. And then he tried to get this one guy in trouble. I can't remember what his name is right now.
Anyways, he was supposedly pinning it on him, making him the patsy.
Well, so what happened was him and this gal became acquaintances. He moved this gal in with him, and she had started telling him that, oh, hey, this guy is like a werewolf, pedophile, like, all this junk, right?
Uh-huh.
And, that he's grooming kids and stuff. Oh, and then, also, too, you also find out, she was also assisting with grooming people. It was,
but she's the one who stepped forward, though.
Right, true, right. And it could just be, one of those things. I think his name was, Gerard Butler or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard of Gerard Butler.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's an actor, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is, too. It's Gerard something. It's a very unique name to go with his very unique werewolfy appearance. But yeah, anyways, I guess in January of 2024, Mama Max decided to try to make a video, and I guess his editor had released some video of him saying, I could literally get you canceled, Charlie. And he was talking to Penguin Zero, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what in the cringy hell was that?
Wait, he's talking to Charlie? Like Penguin Zero Charlie?
Well, he wasn't talking to him, but he was talking about him. He was talking to his editor, threatening that he could, cancel Charlie and all these other YouTubers. Man, it was.
I don't even think Charlie could cancel Charlie.
I think Charlie is too much into the Matrix at this point.
Yeah, he's too embedded into the community for people to be like, he's got way too many loyal people. There's no way you can cancel him. He couldn't even cancel himself.
Yeah, I mean, he would just have to disconnect his computer and
he'd have to disconnect from everything. He's active in his Discord. He's active in his Twitter. He's active. I think he uses Instagram, and he looks at TikTok so that he can have content to talk about. So he's got a TikTok, and people have probably reached him in many different ways. So he's just embedded in general into the cyber network that everyone knows. So the only way that he would literally be able to cancel himself is to unplug from all technology, change his name.
No, yeah, just completely go
off
silent.
The grid. Yeah, witness protection
like corpse
off the
husband.
Grid. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a sad story, man. I really did enjoy his Among Us stuff and others, but anyway, that's going off topic now.
Yeah. Go back to Charlie getting canceled, quote unquote.
Oh well, that's pretty much it. Mama Max. After that point, he tried to make another video and stuff saying, that he was sorry, and then he started working with children again, and at this point I think he should probably stay away from children.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's, a pedophile by any means, but he definitely should not be within a schoolyard. That's for sure.
Well, if he actually is, and he knows he is, then he needs to grow a conscience and do something about that. If he knows that he can, he desires children and he knows it's wrong, I feel like he should do chemical castration.
Right. Well, like I said, I don't think he necessarily had done anything or had any thoughts about children. It's just funny that he had decided to fake all these investigations that he's done over the years. Because, his style was very interesting. It was cringy, but binge-worthy cringy. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah.
It was good enough to keep you entertained, and that's about all you can really wish for.
I do know a couple of YouTubers that are like cringy entertainment that I watch every once in a while.
Right.
There's this one guy, Squanto After Dark. It's just very cringe.
Yeah. Those cringy squantos, I'll tell you that. Almost sounds like a racial slur.
That's rude. Okay, moving on. So, my next topic is 2024, February 28th, the LGBT rights in Ghana. That's Ghana, Africa, by the way. The Parliament of Ghana passes a bill making the promotion and advocacy of LGBT rights punishable by 5 years in prison. So basically, what I learned by going into the research of this topic that we've chose for this Tumid Talks is other countries are connected to the internet. They have voices of their own, just like we do in America. However, some of them, even though they're trying to fight for the rights that we have here, are not able to or capable to get anywhere with their voice, causing people to, quote-unquote, bash people who are against the quote-unquote woke culture on social media, like the keyboard warriors. They don't even I really, when somebody is just typing furiously to insult somebody, I don't even think they look at where that person actually lives. Because in other countries, this LGBTQ plus rights, which I'm all for, love who you want to love and be loved by who you want to be loved by.
Unless it's children.
Yeah, unless it's children.
I mean, unless it's your own children.
Well,
you mean it in a platonic type of love,
Yeah, platonic love for your children, I believe, is acceptable, but not
right,
malicious intent.
Yeah, absolutely.
But bringing it back over to people throwing shade towards, companies like Disney for their woke culture and stuff, like that Disney is not just in America anymore. Now that anyone in Europe can go on Netflix, they can go on Paramount Plus, they can go on Hulu, they can go on Peacock. It is a universal thing now to watch streaming programs and services, and there are certain things that they do not get to watch, which is why in America, if you have a VPN and you activate it and you go on Netflix, you can sometimes find stuff that the American government deems the people of America should not watch. Different series and shows and movies. So when people are typing and insulting other people and bashing others online, I don't think they're thinking, oh, I'm in America. I have freedom. I have the right to say that I, identify as a male, or I'm a female identifying as a male, or vice versa, or I identify as a cat. We have that freedom. We have that choice. For now, till Trump decides to take that away, if he does.
Well, here's the thing,
I was looking at the article, and there were so many people bashing these people, and I'm like, come on, guys. You want to say this is I don't like the word woke culture, but you want to say this is the woke culture, this isn't for us anymore. This isn't only just for us. All these different movies that are getting created, some of them are banned in countries because they cannot be seen because they promote gay actors or actresses.
Right.
And their government's like, nah, we don't allow that. We're not going to allow our people to see that stuff and pollute them, in their opinion. So it just, brought me to the, reading all those comments about the rights in Ghana, people saying, oh yeah, we agree, and then some people in there saying, we don't agree. It's like, this isn't America, guys. This is Africa. They have a whole different structure on how they do things, different rules and regulations. So that's what I found interesting, was how little respect people had for other countries and their lack of freedom, whereas we're blessed to be in America and have the freedoms we have.
Right, and well, that's the thing too. Is like when we come down to, our famous sayings, like that's America is the only place in the world where you can absolutely hate it, but never leave.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Like and that's the thing is like I see so many people that want to hate on America that are Americans themselves, because like whenever I look around and I see people arguing over, the presidential nominees or arguing over like stuff that does not really affect them.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like whenever Joe Biden was in office, or he still technically is until the 20th, 21st, whatever. He's still in the office. But, like, he got a bunch of, people bashed him and stuff. Was some deserved? Sure, because, that's the thing about politics in the U.S. With it only being a practical two-party system, yes, I understand that multiple parties can run, yada yada, but realistically, the only two parties that have a piss to pot in, or pot to piss in, is going to be the left and the right, the Republicans and the Democrats.
Yeah, but to our country, other countries, they look at us and they're like, "Are you guys okay? Do you guys need
that's because
help?"
we choose to fight over silly shit that shouldn't matter.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
we are the freest. Right. Well, we're the freest country in the world, and that's another thing too is that no matter how free we are, at the human core, at the base of all of our survival instincts is the fact that we are a tribal species. We are a group. We stay in groups. We stay in little packs.
And if you don't, 2019 pretty much confirmed that people do not like to be isolated with just themselves and their family. They like to branch out. They like to communicate. They like to connect.
Right, yeah.
That's the thing, though, is like instinct.
People. Right, well, and that's the thing, too, is like America has it so good that they choose to fight over shit that don't matter.
Everything we're saying right now is freedom of speech. And there are countries out there that can't even talk about topics like you and I unless it the country deems it what's it called? Sacrilege or illegal. Either it's against a religion or a political viewpoint that you're getting thrown in prison for saying this one thing. It's like women in India, how you're never supposed to see their face or hair unless you're married to them, if I remember correctly on their traditions. But if a woman does get seen by somebody, she gets thrown in jail.
Oh, there's, especially in the Middle East, you get a bunch of wild laws, that could lead to being stoned to death, or
yeah. So when it comes to us, and
which granted, too, I'm not going to.
I don't see why we're feuding when other people have it way harder than we do.
Oh, but that's the thing, though. That is the other part of being a human. Humans thrive on some form of discontent. Like, we need something to fight for, or fight after, or fight against.
Yeah, that's true.
We are a brutal being. We seek and we need the savagery of war in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's going to be keyboard warriors on one side or physical conflicts. Like, for instance, going into, my next topic would be whenever, the Kansas City Chiefs won their last Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, I remember that game.
And then
they were robbed. 49ers were robbed. You can't change my mind.
The 49ers might have been robbed, but regardless, though, whenever it comes to, especially on Valentine's Day, they decide to have their Super Bowl party, Super Bowl parade or whatever.
Yeah.
And then someone decides to shoot it up. It's like, come on, man. Like, really? Is it really that important to you that the 49ers lost?
They shot it up?
Yeah, you don't remember hearing about that?
No, I remember I was disappointed because the 49ers got robbed.
I don't know if you should. I don't know if you should be laughing over there, man. God
well,
damn.
I mean, I laugh because it's like how did I not hear about this? How did I not, like, what was I doing in my life that I was so busy that I
apparently
didn't
not watching.
well, apparently not watching the news, yeah. It's like, this is a huge thing that you're talking about, and I didn't even know about it. I just knew I was upset that the 49ers lost.
Well, so were other people, apparently.
Oh, and that Usher put on a really good show for his age.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I didn't watch the halftime. Every halftime show I tend to miss. I go and do something else.
Well, that's what my wife wanted to get the game for, was sense. For the halftime. I wanted the game. She wanted the halftime show.
Yeah, I wish you got a show right.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead on what you're saying, though. The shooting?
Well, right, yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, that is how petty we are. That is how how Americans want to present themselves, is the fact that they just want to fight over silly shit that doesn't matter.
Right, but here's the thing that I guess I need clarity on this. Is it a human thing or an American mindset?
Oh, it's a human thing for sure. Absolutely. I mean, you look at look at any other culture in the world. There's something that they're fighting about. Like
yeah,
right
but
now,
are they fighting about sport? Well, yeah, never mind.
Well, okay. Like, well, here's the thing, though.
Manchester United, and then there's the other big one in England. And if you're one or the other, you can get into a brawl.
Go back to the ancient civilization with Rome. You had the oh god, what was it called? The giant arenas where people would go in and fight against lions.
Colosseums.
There you go, Colosseums. Like, they would have that back then, too. Like, I mean,
because people wanted
these
entertained.
type of things happen for, right, that's...
I was reading a book one day. I can't remember the name of the book. I just remember a small little portion of what I read. The guy was entertained at the age of 16 because there was a hanging that happened that day. I was like, why would watching someone get their neck snapped be entertaining? But I was young when I read it, so it's like, now that I'm older, I get it. You know, humans thrive off conflict. We have to have that little, we got to see it's like a car wreck. You know you want to look away, you just are so fascinated that you can't. Or you choose not to, rather.
Right. I mean, also, too, like, look over at Israel and Palestine right now. I mean, they're fighting over which Sky Daddy's better.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, like...
What's it like? Israel,
humans
Palestine,
will fight over
Iran,
everything.
Egypt, they've been fighting since biblical times.
Right. Well, then you also look at Russia and Ukraine right now, too. They are fighting over land.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a super simplified reason, reason of conflict. But, I mean, that's basically what
that's what I don't understand, though. Like, Russia, majority of Russia is a snow tundra. It's wilderness. They could, if they wanted to, pull their resources together and go and expand their territory if they wanted. But they're so busy spending their money on killing each other that they're not utilizing their resources how I feel they should.
Well, I mean, realistically, you can only do so much in the frozen cold, you know?
Oh, you can do quite a bit, though. We found out that from Greenland.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying, like, it gets to a point where your population, because if I remember right, population-wise, Russia has a much larger one than Greenland.
Yeah, it does.
So, I mean...
If I remember correctly, yeah. It's been a while since I've looked at the populations
cuddle up someone
of
so
other countries.
close, you know?
Do what?
I said you only have them cuddle up so close, for so long.
Well, it's not even that. Like in Russia, it's not uncommon to leave your baby out in the cold while you go inside and shop. Like that gets them used to the harsh environment that they live in. Like some of the best special forces on this planet is Russian snipers or Russian special ops because they train in snow tundras. They have to literally live out and survive in a snow tundra in order to prove themselves.
Well, right, but I mean, again, though, like
that's not something.
How
we have
often
to worry
are you
about.
going to fight in the snow? You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah.
That's the cool thing about America too. Is like you've got deserts, you've got frozen tundras, you've got mountains, you've got plains, you've got the whole world pretty much in one isolated country, and that's pretty wild.
Yeah, for the biology of it.
Right. I mean, it might be a little arrogant to say it like that. I mean, we don't have kangaroos, Australia.
Well,
see, Australia, you're pretty cool, even though you were created as a prison. But that's not here nor there.
Created as a prison.
Random shade. Oh yeah. Didn't you know that?
No.
Australians. I mean, I'm sure there were Aboriginal people there beforehand.
Oh well, yeah,
but
of course.
Yeah, no. So Europe sent their worst down to Australia, and they ended up procreating and carrying on.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're made of stern stuff down there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, have you seen their damn wildlife?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like looking for the spiders, they have to shake out their shoe every day. I mean, you got to do the same thing. So it's basically what you said. Like America has all these different biomes that are similar to other people's biomes, but we have all of them. Like we have the ocean, we have the ice peaks over in Alaska, and the ice tundras over there. We have, I mean, even the Colorado mountains are cold.
Right.
They may not be the biggest mountains, but they're cold, and they have snow. Well, you do get snow. Yeah. And then you go down to Arizona. It's very custom to pick up your shoe and shake it out because of scorpions or spiders, making a little place to sleep for themselves at night because it's so cold outside in the desert. So yeah, we do get to experience a lot more than other countries, I feel, when it comes to changes in temperatures, environmental adaptabilities. Kind of like Australia. I mean, they have crocodiles, we don't. We have alligators.
Right. Yeah, see, and which we're lucky, because like Mexico, you got pretty much desert. You got Canada, they've got basically the equivalent of watered down diet Russia.
Yeah, Canada's kind of up there because they're closer.
I just like all the random wars I'm starting here. We got war with Canada going on. We got a war with Australia. Throwing all the shade. Actually, no. One of my favorite YouTubers from Australia, I think it's from Australia, is How Ridiculous. They like to drop random shit from this giant scaffolding or from the sides of waterfalls or not waterfalls, dams and shit. Oh yeah, no.
How Ridiculous.
Yep, it is super ridiculous.
All right, moving on. So March 22nd, for those who are listening and are gamers, that is the day Dragon's Dogma 2 came out. And in the first 11 days, they sold 2.5 million copies, which netted them $269 million in just 11 days. That's if you didn't buy the Elite version that they offered, the premium pack. That's just standard price for the game. And I searched for information on PS5 and Xbox Series X, and I wasn't able to find their values. That was just on Steam. So that's how much they made in 11 days on Steam in general.
Yeah. That's a pretty good chunk.
Yeah.
It's not Elden Ring or anything, but it's a pretty good chunk.
Well, yeah. And personally, I played Dragon's Dogma, the first one, and it got to the point where I don't know if people will remember this, but there's a certain dragon that you fight every week, and everyone gets to fight him. It doesn't matter what instance you're in, if you have a friend or not with you. The damage stacks between instances on the server. So eventually he'll die and drop rewards, and that's like the best in-game thing you can do. And that's where I was. I was at him, farming him every week, and I don't know. I got bored with it because the storyline was done. There was no extra content. Immersively, though, the storyline, the structure of the game, the system for your companions, all of it was done beautifully. It was one of my favorite games. I put at least over 200 hours into that game on PlayStation 4 when I was a PlayStation 4 fan. And
Right.
I don't regret any of the hours I put into it because that was one of the best games. I have not played Dragon's Dogma 2 yet. I don't know. I've really just stepped away from gaming, and I've been really just focusing on stuff outside of gaming. I don't know if it's because I'm just so oversaturated with all the same bullshit of monetize this, cosmetic that, buy this battle pass, we're going to promote this one thing and then turn around.
Calm down, Grandpa.
I mean,
this is the wrong episode for that rant.
Yeah. Well, I just miss old games where you go.
Yes, back in my day when you could buy a G64 and have all the fun with the Nintendo joystick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I beat Turok. I beat Duke Nukem.
Oh, bro, Turok. Oh, my God.
Turok was so much fun.
That was such a good game. Yeah.
And then Duke Nukem, that was the first time I ever saw boobs. It was a little hidden Easter egg I found.
I believe that.
Yep, I didn't even know what boobs were. I was like 6 when I found it. I was like, what the? So I asked my grandpa, and he was like, yeah, you shouldn't be looking at that.
Come on, little Jimmy, we gotta get you somewhere else while I finish this game.
Yeah. The only thing I did not complete on Nintendo 64 was 2 games. That's Super Smash Bros. Melee. The reason why is because the stupid hand boss, I could not kill him at my age. Like, for some odd reason, at my age, I couldn't understand the mechanics on how to beat him. I don't use Kirby. I cheesed a lot of his moves when he tried to attack, and it didn't work. And then it was Super Mario 64. I had a couple more stars left, and I didn't didn't want to go get them, to be honest.
Right.
And once you get the max level of stars that you can get in that game, there's a cannon outside next to a pool of water outside the castle, and you shoot yourself up onto the roof of the castle. I think you talk to Luigi or Yoshi, I can't quite remember. I think it's Luigi, and he gives you 99 lives. Yeah, so basically you beat the game, you're done, but we're going to give you 99 lives. Tell me how that makes sense. Make that make sense. Why do I need 9?
Guess you want to play it again?
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, why would I want to play it again? I've already grinded all this time to get all these stars. What do I need 99 lives for? You know, it didn't ever make sense to me as a kid, so I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. That's pointless.
Yeah, sometimes things just don't make sense.
Yeah. Anyway, because I like Dragon's Dogma, I feel the storyline of Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to be good. I haven't really done a lot of research on the game in general, so I don't know if it's monetized heavily or if the multiplayer experience, because I know I watched E3, I think it was last year about it, or 2 years ago about it, and they showed multiplayer compatibility where you could join your friends, and they were going up against different things, dying a lot too. Like, it did not look like an easy game. But yeah, that was just something that happened in March 22nd of 2024 that I was like, wow, that is interesting.
Well, I might have to check that out. My thing. So I work with money and stuff, right? Just as a basic terminology for what I do. Well, our company uses Garda World, right? And it's basically it's basically a cash truck. They can come, bring us
I've seen
change,
them.
and right. So they'll bring us change, and then they'll take our money away that we've held throughout the week, right?
Right.
Our company doesn't like us leaving with that or with money on us, so we no longer go to the banks ourselves. We have the bank come to us, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, back in March of 2024, one of their main places there in, I think, California, they got robbed for $30 million.
Oh my goodness, what?
Right, yeah, and I have been having troubles trying to find any kind of updates for it.
They got hush quick, huh?
I know they had a couple of suspects and stuff, but
they
as
probably
of
didn't
the money
find
being
it.
returned or not.
Inside job, definitely inside job.
Oh yeah, for sure. For $30 million, yeah, no, there's no way that it just happened because some Tom, Dick, or Harry was like, "Oh, hey, you know what? I see those cash trucks going all the way over there all day long. Let's go visit it."
I'm
No,
not
I
100%
guarantee
sure, but those are armored doors.
Oh yeah, no, they'd have to be armored doors with like state of the art, like scanning. I'm sure they have like specialized badges. I wouldn't be surprised if they had iris scanners and be super futuristic like that. I would not doubt it.
Right. Well, they probably have bulletproof glass too.
Oh, absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
What are they called? Run flats. Where if your tire goes flat, it won't go flat. Like you can shoot the tire, and it won't go flat.
Right.
Not for at least, I think it's 50 miles or so.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure they've got all the state of the art technology and whatnot. But yeah, no, I just thought that was very, very interesting that
Look,
someone
I don't know
or
much
a couple
about
of people got away with it.
happened there, but yeah, inside job, wholehearted.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely, and that's what I told. That's what I told
their
our
truck
driver.
Is, their building should be as secure, if not more so.
Oh yeah. In fact, I was at one of their actual buildings and not just off of a truck.
So, do you remember what happened April 8th of this year?
Nope, nothing that dings my brain, anyways.
It was the full solar eclipse.
Oh,
yep.
yes, okay.
We even actually, I didn't have to work that day. I can't remember why I didn't have to work that day. I had to work that night. Right. People who was working during the day on first and second shift took turns going out to see it. So they were nice enough to let everyone in the plant go out and watch the solar eclipse if they chose to.
Yeah, no, it was definitely
they
wild.
Couldn't sit there and watch it like I did. I grabbed a lawn chair and just threw on some Sleep Token, listened to it while I waited on the moon to go over the sun, and it was awesome. When I was younger, in 2017, there was another full solar eclipse, and I remember.
Man, I remember whenever solar eclipses were supposed to be once in a lifetime events.
Yeah. See, that's what I was told when I was a kid too. It's these are supposed to be once in a lifetime events, and it's well, this is my second one. So what's that say about my lifetime? And
bro, people were wilding out for this fucking solar eclipse. I was
27 when that happened. I'm pretty sure I was working and didn't care that there was a solar eclipse. So I missed that
where
one.
I was at, we didn't get a good view of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. But this last one we had, it was real good.
It was a real good view. Yeah, I guess the next one isn't going to hit till I'm 54.
Yeah, well, it'll probably be in about 4 years. Don't worry.
No, it says 20 years. But yeah. It could possibly be.
Yeah, see, that's wild too. So did you follow any of the events that happened after the solar eclipse happened?
It was crazy. Yeah, and then another thing that I was confused about, because when I went to work and I was talking to some of the people, one of the guys came up to me and was like, "Doesn't it feel like the atmosphere changed for those who actually looked at the sun and looked at
it did feel very eerie,
solar eclipse?" Yeah. And I was like, "You know what? Come to think of it, yeah, the energy has kind of changed with people." And then next thing you know, that next day, just hit Shan and fast with a bunch of stuff that happened around the world. And it's like, I get that, because I do dabble in astronomy and I do understand the pull of the tide when it comes to the moon and gravity. When you go to put the moon in front of the sun, that there's going to be some repercussions when it comes to the gravitational field and whatnot. In my opinion, I didn't really dive deep into that particular side of things. It's just something that I hypothetically feel would be possible. However, how insane people became after that, it was like Y2K. When the Mayan calendar ended and everyone thought the world was going to end. Yep, everyone was selling their stuff and trying to take their money with them. It's like, you can't take your money. What are you talking about? You're going to be dead. Right. If it actually was to end, you're gone. There's no spending your money.
Yeah, well, did you hear about that one lady who, I can't remember what highway she was on, but she was driving down a highway. She throws her kids out of the car, continues to drive, and I believe she ends up wrecking her vehicle. And I cannot remember for the life of me what happened to the kids. Like, I don't even have any notes down for this event that happened. But it was absolutely wild that she just threw her kids out of the vehicle, continued on, and if I remember right, she ended up getting into a wreck and ended up unaliving herself, as they say nowadays.
Yeah. And that's crazy. Yeah. Like, that's America, right?
Yeah, and actually, the place where I heard that from, and also too, there's anywhere on the line, especially with AI being the way it is, it's kind of hard to, especially if you're older, to kind of separate what's AI, imagery or AI driven, and what is, a legitimate fact. That, and also too, there's a bunch of crazy people that make up stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I seen it on TikTok, right? Is where I originally seen this, and I looked into it afterwards. I did see that it was a legitimate thing that happened. But so I that kind of brings me into like what I found hilarious about April is that the U.S. government decided to focus hardcore on trying to get TikTok banned.
Really?
People were posting. People are on there posting all this stuff and whatnot. And I don't know if that's necessarily what their reasoning behind it is. I know through.
Wait, that happened in April?
Oh yeah. It doesn't go into effect until January 25th, I think, this year.
Huh.
But I know TikTok's been fighting it off and stuff.
I have a story of TikTok that happened in August, but I don't know if it's going to relate to what you're saying. Go ahead though, so that I know.
But it was just it's just wild. Again, it goes back to Americans do silly shit for silly reasons, but they're wanting to no longer allow TikTok to be operated within the American borders.
Wow.
Because they're afraid of China getting all of our data. Well, newsflash,
that's right.
Facebook. Newsflash, Facebook's already sold their data to 1,000 different entities, and I'm sure at least 10% of those entities are in China itself.
Oh man,
We've also got YouTube that's done the same damn thing.
Those
Dubai's
guys.
India, though, isn't it?
Yeah, they're scammers. They're just trying to. Oh, sir, you forgot to sign in for your Amazon package, stuff like that. I'm like,
oh yeah, no, I get that shit too,
buddy. I'm too broke to afford an Amazon package, so I think you got the wrong number.
Right. We order shit off Temu here, okay? Which brings you to our sponsor. No, I'm just kidding.
That would have been a good segue, though. You gotta get that was good.
Yeah, absolutely. Timu, shop like a billionaire.
No, for real. Like,
copy strike this shit, right?
I was watching a YouTube channel. I was just going on YouTube. I was bored watching the same stuff, so I saw these guys, and it was Walmart. No, it was Sam's Club versus Timu, or no, Amazon versus Timu. And what they did is they had a budget, and they went online and bought stuff to survive in the wilderness from each site. And Timu has, I guess, this bread that is in the form of a banana, and it's dehydrated.
What the hell?
Yeah. And it was so gross that when the guys bit into it and then started to chew it, they just spit it out immediately and then just threw it over next to a tree. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then the other guys over in the other tent, the ones who went to Amazon and ordered stuff on Amazon, they were about to make, what's it called? Burgers. No, it wasn't burgers. It was
I was about to say that's a pretty simple thing to come up with, some burgers.
Yeah, no, it was burgers. Yeah.
What about this condensed bread banana?
Yeah. No. See, they had steaks or some sort of like steak from Timu.
From Amazon?
From Timu.
Oh, from Timu. What?
The guys who ordered the stuff from Amazon, all their stuff was like great quality and good tasting. The guys from Timu. Well, there's a reason it's cheap.
I would be so afraid to try anything from Timu, let alone food product.
Their tent alone was enough to make the video so enjoyable.
I guarantee you it was like a piece of string with a cloth laid over it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Like, it came with no instructions at all. So they had to try and piece it together to figure it out. And some of their stuff didn't even get shipped. Whereas the guys from Amazon, it was shipped next day after they ordered it. And they had to wait on the other guys for like a month and a half to get all their stuff from Timu, and they still didn't get all of it. And they were like, all right, we need to make a video. So we're just going to take what we got and go. And they said that in the video, and I was like, wow, so you really got to wait a while for Timu to get their thumb out of their ass and focus on getting the product to the consumer, huh?
I mean, they're practically like a wholesaler. I mean, they're not, but they kind of are.
Yeah.
Like Alibaba type level shit, you know?
Well, speaking of other countries, May 18th, there were 23 migrants that boarded a boat traveling to, from Tunisia, Africa, to Italy, and they left the port on around the 3rd or the 4th of May, and then they went missing. Right. 10 days later, they were reported missing, and apparently this is one of the deadliest migration routes in the world, that 3,000 people have been known to drown while crossing it in 2023. My question is, why are they drowning? What kind of vessels are they going in that they're trusting to take them to Italy, or just to any other part of Europe that they're trying to get to from Tunisia, Africa? Or is it piracy? Because I know pirates are really bad over in Africa.
Well, see, my guess would be that they are
and
just
pirates
simply
ships. That's what they're known.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I'd say this is probably just simply they probably don't have the greatest financial backing since they're trying to leave their country. So it's probably just worn down ships that they were able to come by.
Yeah.
And that's not the kind of ship you want to run on the ocean. The ocean is a very unfair maiden.
Possibility, though. There could be some biological thing in the water that sank the ships.
Like a ghost?
Well, no, more like a kraken or something like that. Like, if the vessel's not that good, and a shark comes up and decides to test bite it, what sharks have been known to do, then there's a hole and shark gets a meal, you know?
Oh, yeah. Which that kind of goes back to what I was saying. Like, you know, they don't have the greatest ships, so, you know, they're just kind of at the mercy of whatever comes their way while they're on the ocean.
Well, maybe someone in the comments will explain it to me why 3,000 people are known to have drowned while crossing it in 2023. It's a lot of lives.
Yeah. But when you really think about it, it's not.
What, for 3,000 people?
Well, I mean, when you consider the world population, it's not that many.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not trying to say that it's not a lot. I'm just saying, it's not a lot. You know what I mean? There we go. We just started a war with Africa, too. That's good.
Yeah, well, we're used to being in other people's business anyway, so...
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you tell me to self-invite? I self-invited.
Well, the funniest thing I found out of May was the fact that good old President Trump got convicted on 34 counts of business misinformation, pretty much.
Yeah. It wasn't embezzlement. They tried to do embezzlement, but they couldn't get it to stick. Oh, yeah.
Well, in New York, I'm surprised they couldn't get more to stick at this point, to be honest.
Well, now that he's our president, he is... everything that he was going up against got expunged. So...
Well, no, not necessarily true. He was convicted on that day, and then sentencing was in November, and then January 10th is going to be his final, what he has to do. The judge has already stated that there's not going to be any jail time for him. From what I understand, from what I've read, I haven't looked too much into it because it is what it is.
I figured as much.
But he'll most likely get a fine, but we find that out on January 10th, if I remember right.
So in 5 days, we'll find out the verdict, huh? Well, I think they'll fine him. I don't think they'll throw him in prison or give him jail time. Hell, I don't even think he'll be on probation. I think he'll just have to pay millions of dollars to not only the court system, but to the lawyers that are all involved.
Right.
And it's
but
not
also, too,
going to trickle back down to people who actually got hurt in the company. It's going to stay in the pockets of those who are in the upper echelon.
Well, and see, that's the thing, too, is because if you look back at everything that those lawsuits were over, it just seems incredibly silly that they even got brought up in the first place, because all the loans that he took out got paid back with interest and everything. So, if I was trying to sell something to you, I would try to make it sound better than what it actually is, because I'm trying to sell that thing. I mean, that's kind of the same thing when you apply for a loan, and that's from what I understand. Again, it's super simplification of it. But he had just made his property sound better.
Oh, yeah.
Than what it was.
Upselling.
Right.
The deal is actually not that great, but I'm going to make you think it's great, and I'm going to make you think you need it.
Well,
so when you go for that
just like
$3 on, peak tea, you're actually spending $4.23.
Well, that's pretty much all I had to really say about the whole Trump being indicted on 34 counts of mischievousness.
So, moving on to June. June 21st, Elden Ring Shadow of Erdtree DLC launches for those who are nerds like me. I am currently trying to get all the achievements in Elden Ring on Steam. It's a grind, it's a process. It's been fun, though. I've learned a lot about the lore in the game. And honestly, I still believe that Elden Ring, even though it was released... 2 years ago now? It is one of the best games that's been released in quite some time. It is a full game, and the DLC just made it even more so. Like, it gave us more content for those who are finally like done, and all we can do is really go and invade and screw with people. Honestly, I don't like that part of Elden Ring where you can just PvP or get PvP'd by somebody. However, there are people out there who really get their rocks off when it comes to doing that. Not my cup of tea. If anything, I'm like, well, if you want to come into the instance I'm in, you might as well join me. Like, we can do this together, you know.
Right.
Instead of being adversaries, we can be allies. Well, the DLC was so good, it sold 5 million units in just 3 days. And made over, it's currently on Steam alone, Elden Ring has made over $2 billion in revenue. That's $2 billion.
That's a mighty chunk of change.
Yeah, and see, the thing is like, $2 billion in revenue and no microtransactions.
Oh, it can definitely be done. It's just the company has to care enough. And unfortunately, those companies are indie companies that don't have a whole lot of backing in the first place.
Well, they do now. I mean, I haven't bought Shadow of Erdtree because I feel like, I don't know if other people feel this way about when they play video games. If you haven't achieved it, you don't move on. So it's like, I haven't achieved beating Elden Ring 100% yet. I don't know where everything is. I don't have everything unlocked. I'm only going to do that on one character. I may only play it once. However, I'm going to make sure that I learn as much as possible about the game. Because as soon as I stop playing it, all the information I remembered will be gone. It's like my brain does a mind dump and dumps all the information that's not useful for me, and then I go on to the next.
Old Dory up there.
Yeah. I go to the next topic, the next game. So,
right.
I haven't bought Shadow of Erdtree for that reason, is I don't feel like I deserve it yet. Like, I don't want a participation trophy. I want first place. I want that first place trophy. So I'm gonna make sure I get it completed. And then I'll probably buy Shadow of Erdtree because then I'll understand the mechanics. I'll understand how to do this. I'll transition from Elden Ring into Shadow of the Erdtree, and then I'll beat Shadow of the Erdtree. And they've already released their second game. It's gotta be
No, they haven't released it yet, but they have announced it.
Yeah, they announced their second game. What's it called again?
Oh crap!
Risen something. Yeah,
I can't remember. I know it's supposed to be like Monster Hunter-esque, from what I understand.
Elden Ring,
which
Night
I guess
Rain. That's it, Night Rain.
Yeah, which I guess what that means is you're going to be able to craft your own gear.
Yeah, and see, I think honestly, and I played Monster Hunter, so Elden Ring is like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Monster Hunter when it comes to the stamina needing to be used in a tactical way in order to survive fights and encounters, learning counter strikes and when to strike openings for bosses and their attack patterns. That's always been something I have a hard time, understanding till I started playing Devil May Cry 3, and then I learned attack patterns. Oh yeah. Coming back to Elden Ring though, when they do Night Rain and they do the implementation of being able to create your own weapons, your own armor, I feel like it's going to pull more people back into the world because then you have more ability to customize. And the cool thing about the customization is it's not going to be monetized. You don't go to a store to buy the cosmetic. You go and you farm the parts from whatever beast or even human on the game and then construct whatever it is that they've implemented when it comes to weapons or armor in the game.
Right.
And it's
see, that's what I'm looking forward to, is because like the world of Elden Ring is a very dark, kind of setting. You've got basically skeletal creatures everywhere. You've got more actual like monsters versus like in Monster Hunter. You've got like these dinosaurs and you've got these other creatures like that. But in Elden Ring, it seems like you have much more actual like monster type thing you'd be hunting.
yeah. And speaking of Monster Hunter, Monster Hunter Wilds is coming in February 27th, and I watched some of the trailers of it. Like I don't know. When it comes to Monster Hunter, once you're in end game, there's not much to do. They don't really release DLCs. Once you beat that game 100%, there's not much else to do. There's no like, if I replay it, I can choose different dialogue with NPCs and get different reactions, different endings, and stuff like that. Like in Elden Ring, if you do certain things a certain way, you'll get one ending. But if you do something different, then you'll get another ending. If you do something different, you'll get another ending. And that's what's cool about those games, is that the diversity of the particular game for in-game content itself. So yeah, like it just when it comes to Monster Hunter Wilds, I feel like it's just going to be like the same thing as Monster Hunter World or Ice Reborn.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it most likely will. I mean, it's kind of like one of those mainstay type of games, kind of like Pokemon. It's been the same thing for 30 years, and
well, I remember playing Monster Hunter.
Haven't changed anything.
Yeah, I remember playing Monster Hunter on PSP when PlayStation Portable was a thing. Me and a buddy were playing Monster Hunter United, where you could play with your buddies. This was before they implemented it on console or PC. This was just a game that you played on PSP, and you were able to play with your buddies. And we had a good time.
Right.
Like, we did a lot of stuff, but then it just, I don't know, it became the same thing over and over.
Yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of games that are like that now. But you know how earlier we were talking about pedo hunters?
Oh yeah,
Well, did you hear about those Dr. Disrespect allegations that came out in June?
Yeah, see, and when it comes to that, I've done a little bit of research on it. I didn't go too in depth on it because, quite frankly, I've never liked Dr. Disrespect, and it's not because he's, I get that he plays a character, because if he's like that in real life, there's no way he'd be able to have a structure, a family, a wife, because he's so narcissistic when you're watching him.
Right, he's super arrogant.
Right,
yeah.
So there's no way he's able to keep a family with that much arrogance and narcissism. So to me, it's his persona, like. And then from what I've heard from other people that met him and like meet and greets and stuff, he's actually a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. That's just the character he plays. I don't care for the character he plays.
Right. And see, I'm not a big fan of watching his stuff either, but I was quite astonished. I knew he had cheated on his wife and stuff, yada yada, back years ago.
Yeah. I think almost every YouTuber who's made it big has had one fling or another when they were married.
Right. But where it came down to the allegations, and of course, I'm going to have to assume that the allegations were slightly blown out of proportion just because there has been no repercussions for him. I know he's about to be streaming on Kick and stuff, and he's got a Kick deal going on. Or was it Kick, or was it that other website? Oh shoot, what is it called?
I know which one you're trying to think of. It's new.
Yeah.
Bum? No, not Bum.
It's another video platform.
Yeah, I can't quite remember it, but yeah, it's trying to surface.
Hold on. I'll try to look it up real quick. But I know he's going to go over there and work on their streaming and game platform.
I don't believe he did anything wrong in the sense of what they're trying to allegedly say he did. I do believe that he did say some stuff to a minor that probably shouldn't have been said. And he feels guilty for saying those things. But I don't think they were sexualized. I think they were more on like a person trying to guide somebody. And the way he worded it was you were able to take it out of context.
Right, yeah, see, and Rumble, there we go, found it.
Rumble.
Yeah, you about said Bumble.
I said Bumble,
Rumble.
Yeah, Rumble.
Yeah. But, yeah, see, that's the thing, too, is like, and I don't want to jump on either side of...
Oh, I will, I'll jump on his side. I feel like, because he was in, Twitch, talking to the person... And I don't know if it was one of the moderators from Twitch read their conversation and he decided to ban Dr. Disrespect and report him, or if it was the person he was talking to who did it. However, he was targeted by Twitch when it came to talking to that individual. And then they tried to pull a bunch of stuff out of context, in which I watched one of his videos, and he did come out and say, look, I got some information I'm going to share with y'all, but this is the last time we're going to talk about this. And he shared the information, and from what he shared, it seemed legit. It seemed like Twitch was targeting him, and it's not the first time I've heard of Twitch targeting content creators who are not wanting to renew their contract with them. So, I mean, that's why I'm on his side. There's proof in the pudding, so to speak. Now, if the proof was fabricated, that could be a thing. There is always, in any belief that you have, room for error. Because we are human, so...
Sure.
But that's just how I see it when it comes to him and that particular topic. I've always been strongly on his side. Like, the way he put it to everyone was he was just trying to help someone out, and he may have said some things that he probably shouldn't have said, and it got taken out of context.
Right.
But then...
Yeah, I can see that too, but at the same time, like, the way I see the world, because, I mean, as you've known me for many years now. You also know that I have many kids to go along with those many years. Yep. It's just those type of allegations I need to see proof one way or the other. 1,000% backstanding
proof. Yeah. And see, I feel the same way. It's like, I have to have...
Well, because I figured it would be so easy for him to just release what exactly was said, what the context was behind it, and the fact that he is wanting to kind of pussyfoot around it. It's just very... It makes me like, do I think he should be banned worldwide off of every,
platform? Yeah.
Platform, in the world? No. But do I think there should probably be like an 18 plus rating on him? Absolutely. Just because I do not know 1,000% what the conversation was, and I don't know what the circumstances of the conversation was, because I also know that he was if I remember correctly, at that same period of time, he was also trading favors with I don't know if she was an escort or what the whole scenario was. I know it's a very interesting thing that he also, from my knowledge, has not spoken out against.
No shit. No, I haven't heard anything about this escort thing.
Yeah, well, if I remember correctly, it was a trans woman that he was becoming friendly with and stuff. And I don't know if anything ever physically happened, but whenever she released the messages between them, and of course, messages can be fabricated, and the whole thing could be.
Oh yeah, with the AI program, hell
and that could be one.
AI.
Right.
I can just get a program that makes it look like you're coming on to me when you're not.
Right, and that's the thing too. Is like the conversation just could have never happened, and that might be why he's never addressed it, because he finds that it's nothing to stand on.
Well, it really isn't, because you can fabricate anything these days. You can say, "I saw an angel," and AI puts an angel inside your thumbnail for YouTube so that people click on it, and then you the whole thing's fabricated.
Every time I hear the word angel, I think of that James Blunt song. You're so beautiful.
Oh, right. I have no idea what you're on about.
Have you not heard that song?
I don't know who James Blunt is.
No, my
God. I know. I mostly just listen to heavy metal. Like Sleep Token, Motionless in White, Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah, well, I have. Not really I'm cultured, sir. I listen to R&B everything
anymore. I used to.
Well, see, I listen to everything. Like, I listen to classical music. I listen to rap. I listen to rock. I listen to country.
Classical music's my workout music. Don't know why. Just Beethoven or. Oh man, who is it? I love his stuff. I can't remember who it is right now. I have to pull up my workout playlist.
Yeah, we ain't gotta go that far right now.
Whoops.
But, the next thing that I think both of us have on our lists here, and if not, I would be astounded if you didn't, but the July Trump assassination attempt. That was pretty wild.
Yeah, yep, I got that. What do you know about it?
What do I know of? I know it was not on my bingo card for 2024. That is for sure. I did not see that happening at all.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I find that it is a very interesting. To be honest, to also go along with because in 2024 alone, there was one absolute attempt on Trump's life. I mean, literally hit him in the ear. Like, the only thing closer to his brain than his ear is his skull. He was just a fraction of an inch away from meeting, God himself.
It was 2 shots. The first shot whizzed by him, and you could see his reaction on the camera. He's like, "What the was that?" And then all of a sudden, you see him holding his ear on the second shot. That's why that one guy died, is because there was 2 shots. The first time when it hit him, they realized, and the lady screamed, and then the second shot hit Trump, and I don't know where that bullet went. The first one killed that guy, though.
Right, yeah, no, but see, that's a wild situation, because you've also the last couple of days have even just been wild. Have you heard of the Cybertruck blowing up in front of Trump Tower?
All right. When it comes to that Cybertruck and the guy driving the Cybertruck, I've been watching a lot of information on that, and it turns out the guy is a 18 Zulu, which I guess is Special Forces in the Army. Green Beret or something like that. And
yeah, I've heard that he's a Green Beret, right?
Yeah. So, they're trying to paint him out to be a terrorist. They're trying to say that his kid isn't his and he found out, so he went off the deep end. Just, the typical FBI, CIA, NSA bullshit that's just to try and spin bullshit for people to feed on, all the sheeps. So when it comes to him in general, he was trying to, he reached out to this guy, and I'll send you the video if you're interested after this. We could do an actual discussion on it because it's so in depth. This guy received a manifesto, if you will, from the guy who was in the truck. And there was a couple of things that he was saying that I was like, oh, well, shoot, I didn't think of it in that manner. Like, why would they shoot him in the head instead of waiting for him to get out of the truck?
No, the whole situation is very interesting. Like, it was a planned attempt of something.
That's what the FBI, that's what the police are trying to say. But if you watch one of the police officers reading the script that he's supposed to read, you can see a couple of times, like in his facial expressions, he doesn't believe a damn thing he's saying. Like, you can just see it in his face. Like, he's just supposed to go up there and he's supposed to say it. It may not be true, but that's what he's supposed to do. And there are a lot of people like that are supposed to just step up and say stuff that they know is 100% inaccurate or has no basis. And that's what they got to do because that's their job.
Right.
So when it comes to Cybertruck guy, I think his name's Matthew, if I remember correctly. When it comes to Matthew,
sure.
I think, because he was on the Sean Ryan show. There's a guy on the Sean Ryan show that I'm watching, and the guy said that Matthew tried to reach out to him on Instagram. So he went on Instagram, looked at his messages, and they were talking to each other in code and stuff like that. And he printed it out, the message, shared it with the Sean Ryan show on YouTube. And the thing about it is the Sean Ryan show is one of the things that he requested, other than Fox News and someone else, that his manifesto reaches that person. And basically he was trying to say he was getting followed by the FBI and that he knew information about drones that China had stolen from us or we gave to them, that were portable bombs pretty much.
Right.
And stuff like that.
Yes, I'm going to have to look into this more.
Oh yeah, no, I'm deep into this, but 100%, I don't know. They could be spinning a story. The Sean Ryan show, I don't know yet. I haven't finished the video. I was watching it when you texted.
Right.
And that's the information I got from it so far. I've watched, because I was watching it on Asmongold, because I really like his viewpoints on certain things. And
right.
He is watching that video, and he found something on Twitter that one of his people in chat linked to him of a different video of a police statement coming out saying that the FBI states this, 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 and this. And that he sent this, this, and this. And about that time is when you jumped into Discord, so I paused the video. So that's as much as I know about that particular thing. Now, when it comes to the Trump assassination attempt, once again, I was watching Asmongold when I found out about this. And, I mean, there's video footage of people pointing to the ground patrol. Like, they were, recording. Someone was recording the guy climbing up on the roof, and you can see someone walk up to the cop that's walking around on the grounds, talk to them and point over to the roof, and the cop didn't even look. So that whole situation could have been avoided if the cops on the ground were more vigilant and less dismissive towards people. Because he could have saw that guy climbing up on the roof and been like, wait, why is that guy up on the roof? And then walk over there, draw his gun, and tell him to get off the roof, and he probably would have saw the weapon next to him. Might not have even used words. He might have just shot first, questions later. I don't know.
Right.
It could have played out entirely different had the guy who was on camera, who there was multiple people pointing at the guy on the roof, and the cop refused to look. Like, he refused to do anything. And if you need that video, I can send it to you as well. Like, if you have.
Oh, I've seen a lot of videos when it comes to the attempt on Trump.
Right. So why? Why did the cop not look? Like, if I was a patrolman walking the grounds to protect a future president, or just the candidate who is running for president, I would immediately look at where people's looking, see the person there, see they have a weapon, and then go and either try and get the weapon away from them or defuse the situation and maybe maim and injure but not unalive the person. They unalived him. Didn't even give him a chance to get questioned, nothing. But they also refused to look. Like, I don't know. That was weird. That whole thing seems staged, but then again, not staged.
Right. Well, see, that's the thing, too, is, like, the unaliving was definitely warranted. However, leading up to it, there were several things that they could have done that would have stopped the attempt from even being attempted.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to I can't remember when it was, but there was also another attempt where they just went and picked the guy up instead of, shooting him.
Yeah.
It was whenever he was playing golf. I can't remember if he's down in Mar-a-Lago or
there was a guy who they claim they saw his rifle sticking through the fence while Trump was on the golf course. And They couldn't find him, but then they finally found a suspect later on that day who may have been the guy, but they weren't 100% sure.
Right.
So, that's not the first time someone's tried to take a crack at him. However, this person,
definitely very interesting.
He almost did it. A couple inches over. We wouldn't even be saying Trump was president. We'd say Kamala got it because Trump got killed.
Oh, here's the thing, though. Like, after that point, I do not think Kamala would have won after that.
Oh, you don't think so? Who would have won then?
No, and actually, to be honest, I don't even think Biden would have stepped down at that point.
Oh, you think he would have just stayed in term?
Oh, I think he would have. I think he would have tried to go up against whoever. I mean, because the nominees weren't fully announced until August.
All right.
So it would have thrown the Republican primary into a fit, because they would have had to try to push someone in there. But I think the country in the entirety behind the assassination would have probably went more right.
Why more right?
Just to be in solidarity, kind of like with whenever 9/11 happened. The country swung more right, not white. But just because, I mean, that's the more pro-American side, I guess. I hate to say that because I don't want to make it sound like Democrats don't care about America, but when it comes to left versus right, typically the right side wants to focus on localizing governments and focusing our efforts here, whereas the left seem to more want to help the whole world out,
Yeah.
which, I mean, I'm all for helping people when we can, but I mean, I feel like we've gotten to a point now, like, we need to be helping our people. Not that I'm trying to be selfish or self-absorbed by any means, because it's not like it's not like I necessarily need the help. I'm not saying that I'm well off by any means, but I've got a family, I've got, a pretty decent job, so I'm not one of those out there super struggling.
Yeah, there are others out there that are struggling really bad, though.
Right. And some people are out there that are struggling, self-imposed, due to
their own volition,
habits, and whether they chose to start doing drugs and whatnot that led them to have an addiction. I mean, that's like they say, every family has one, and
well, when it comes to left wing or right wing, I simply just told my wife, I said, I'm not neither left nor right. I just want our country to go back to what it used to be, where the power was in the people's hands, not the corrupt government or the politicians or the corporations, where there was a middle class, where you could live really a good life, a wholesome life with, a little bit less money than somebody who's rich. Now, you're either poor or you're rich. There's no middle class anymore. That got taken out. And then now the government's not stepping in, and this is where I feel like they should. It has been proven that fast food restaurants, people who are grocery producers like Walmart, stuff like that, Costco, have tripled inflation in America on their own volition. It has nothing to do with inflation itself. They just chose to do it, and then they use the excuse, oh, it's because of inflation. No, it's because everyone's scared with the inflation currently that you guys have taken advantage. And we're still paying those prices. We still have to pay those prices. But then that means Christmas is a little less that year. You have to wait a little longer for the stuff that you want to buy because you can't afford it, because you're paying $300 worth of groceries for 2 weeks of groceries. If you're like a full family unit, 1 week of groceries for $300. So that's why I say I want America back. I want America back to what it used to be, where stuff made sense. It wasn't about who had power. It was about what their power could do for the people, not what the power can do for themselves.
Right. And see, that's the thing, too, is like just as most of my life decisions, I've been very center forward. I've been very neutral about a lot of things. When it comes to my political standing, it's also, very central, in nature. I do see things that are on the right that I agree with. There's things on the left that I see that I agree with. One of those things being like, universal health care.
Yeah.
I think America could find a way of doing so. However, this would be, I guess, the right side of me coming out, where I do believe that there has to be some sort of cap to it. Like, there's got to be some kind of safeguard behind it.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, like if it's to do with any kind of critical health, like a heart attack, stroke, anything like that, I think it should be 1,000% be taken care of without having the worry of trying to find a way to pay for that. But for your elective surgeries like breast enlargement or breast augmentation
or lip injections,
right? Like for these types of things, like sex changes and whatnot, those are things that should be paid for financially upfront by the consumer and or their own private insurance. I don't think that should be something that is dealt with via the universal health care.
Well, that's the thing, though. We don't have universal health care anymore. Right.
But that's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm agreeing with. Like, that's something on the left that I would agree with that we should have.
Oh, yeah. Like Mangione, the guy who killed that guy who was the CEO. I mean, apparently the guy who was the CEO... Haven't you heard about that, Mangione?
Oh, yeah, Luigi Mangione.
Yeah, Luigi Mangione.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, too, though, is I'm not fully convinced it's him.
Well, the guy who he shot and unalived was going to get nailed for embezzlement anyway. Like, after, because he shot him, it became a bigger story. They dug more into him, and they found out that he was about to be indicted on embezzlement charges. So the reason why, if Luigi Mangione says what he says is true, and it was actually the reason, the passion behind the intent was he couldn't afford his medicine after his back surgery, and he fought for the medical system to try and help him, and he was losing everything.
Right.
I don't know if that's true or if that's just someone spitballing, but apparently it's not an uncommon thing in our country that there are people who, take for me, for example, I've been out of work for almost 4 months now because of the whooping cough, and I am getting better. I'm able to go back to work, but I have a job to go back to. Some people have back surgery and then they have complications afterwards, or they need medicine for the pain, or apparently there's only so long that you're able to be under anesthesia now. So after a certain amount of time, you're no longer going to be under anesthesia. They either have to do the surgery quickly or you got to pay extra for the anesthesia to keep you asleep, so that when you're having a heart transplant or when they're going in to flush out one of your ventricles in your heart, stuff like that, you don't die or you don't wake up in an immense amount of pain, because our government, instead of doing universal health care, wants to line and pad the pockets of people who say, pay us for insurance, but then when we turn around and use the insurance, we have to pay them back twice as much or interest, which doesn't make sense to me because we're already paying them in the first place. It's the same thing with car insurance. It's like Geico says that I need to carry insurance. I'm like, I don't have a car. I share a car with my wife. We like it that way. When I get my own vehicle together, we'll probably use her insurance because she has a longer standing relationship with them. But Geico says that even if you don't have a car, you should pay an insurance company, because later on, the more that you pay, the less you pay for the insurance of whatever vehicle. I'm like, that makes no sense. Why would I pay for...
Well, you get grandfathered into...
Yeah, but see, you shouldn't have to be. It shouldn't have to be that way. If you're paying insurance on something, if you have full coverage and you total your car, they only want to pay you Kelley Blue Book value of like $3,000 for it. Well, what am I supposed to get? The car isn't worth $3,000. The car, I paid more for the car, and you're only giving me like a third of how much I paid for that car. So now you're expecting me to go out and get a jalopy? Because that's all I can afford with $30,000. But they don't care, because you're paying the insurance so that you can drive around. I think the whole insurance thing in general, medical insurance, car, vehicle insurance, I think it's bullshit. I think it's just a way for people to line their pockets with money, because when it comes down to it, you get penalized for using your insurance. You shouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm paying for protection, I should be 100% protected. But that's just not how it works.
Well, just like condoms, some things break, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of broken, 20 days after the assassination attempt, a lawsuit was filed on August 2nd by the United States Department of Justice and Federal Trade Commission against one of the most popular applications since Facebook, TikTok. They went after TikTok and their parent company ByteDance for violating a law that, I mean, I don't even see how they got away with it as long as they did, but they did. Where there have been girls under the age of 13 posing as if they were 18 years old and doing provocative and sexualized live shows. And many men, not even in just our country alone, have preyed on them. There's been reports of girls under the age of 12 who sent a nude to somebody and they blackmailed them for more nudes. After they paid $500 for the nude or something like that. So they finally went after them for this. But they didn't go after them for the sexualization or the provocabilities. I can't remember how to say that right now. They went after them for the lawsuit about using personal information of children under the age of 13.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing, too, is, I remember another similar situation that was going on with them, and I believe it had to do with the parents, and specifically moms were hoisting their daughters in front of the camera and stuff, and I think that's kind of the same time period.
Well, they used to not have an age restriction. Now they do. Now you have to be 18 years old to have a TikTok. Or that's what they're trying to push. That's the second lawsuit filed towards them.
Well, after January 25th, they ain't got to worry about it no more.
Yeah, because the application won't exist in general in our country, which a lot of countries, I've learned when I was looking up the research for this stuff, have banned TikTok from their country.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have TikTok. They have a former version of it, but it's called something else entirely, and it's monitored and regulated by the government, their government. But yeah,
right. Well, the funny thing is
about how many people stepped forward and told TikTok, "Hey, there's these kids doing these things on your platform," and they didn't react sooner. They had to wait till a lawsuit hit them before they took it as a serious thing. You know what I mean? And then I found out that doing research, some of them weren't even in America. Some of the girls were in other countries, and they were more or less being pimped out on TikTok by people who own them, more or less.
Oh, yeah, no, I believe that. But, yeah, no, the whole, I see, the biggest thing that I have about the whole TikTok being banned thing is the fact that all these other companies have done equivalent and or worse than what TikTok's done. Look, for instance, look at League of Legends. It's owned by a Chinese company. Oh crap, what's it called?
Yeah, but then them and Netflix decided to make Arcane, and Arcane's pretty good.
Well, yeah, no. I'm not saying it's good or bad or whatever, but it's setting a precedent that just because they may have some financial backing from China in this instance, that they can just be like, oh, well, I'm sorry, you can no longer use this service. Because I mean, it's drafted here in the U.S. and stuff. TikTok. I think its base is in Florida. I think.
I don't know. I didn't find out that information. I was more blown away by all the other information I found out. It's like, that's messed up, man. How did you like? There's moderators on there, right?
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Is like,
what do you have, moderators staring at underage girls while they're stripping? I mean, what the hell? I don't know. It's gross. It was disgusting, and I'm glad that TikTok's gone. My wife's going to be very sad, but I'm not.
Yeah, and that's also just depending on if TikTok doesn't find a way to kind of get around the Supreme Court in the next 20 days.
Yeah, they may have a way. They've been given some time to try and figure out how to get it to go their way.
Right. It was just kind of surprising that, like, if I remember right, it was all kind of started by, well, I guess initially it was the talks of banning it was initially brought on by Trump, but then I believe Biden actually moved forward with signing something that caused legal actions to start procuring towards them.
Yeah, I remember that. I read an article about Biden doing something to TikTok to try and get something to stick on him. Can't remember what it was.
Yeah, which, I mean, to be honest, it kind of blew me out of the water whenever he chose to step out of the election after. And see, I don't know if it's after, if he chose to step away because of the Trump assassination attempt, or if it was because of the performance he did after during the first live debate that they had.
I have two theories about that. Well, three theories about that, if you'd like to hear them. First one is Biden got scared. Trump almost died. Like a couple inches over, and Biden wouldn't have had a competitor. So he knew how many people didn't really like him. It's not like people were very quiet about their discontent when he was in office. So he may have gotten scared and dropped out because he's like, nah, I'm not going to deal with that. Two, he knew that Trump would win because he almost died. He knew that the American people would look at Trump and be like, what a badass. Like, he's still throwing his fist in the air, still trying to fight for our rights in our country, even though he just got his ear clipped. He almost got a haircut. He was lucky he got his ear clipped. And here he was fighting past Secret Service to try and show that he doesn't care if he just got shot in the ear. This is what he's about. He's about our country and our people. Right then and there, Biden seeing that was probably like, yeah, I can't compete with that. I'm out. And then there is the third one that you pointed out. The debate didn't go well with Biden versus Trump on the first one. So he was like, yeah, I don't see a way of winning.
Yeah, and he could have just plain been pushed out by his own people, too.
Yeah.
There's a possibility where that was what caused it, was him being pushed out of the running. But, in the middle of August, the fact that the only people that they could put up against Trump was Kamala and Tim Walz is hilarious. I mean, because during the 2020 presidential run, Kamala Harris wasn't a super popular pick. I mean, I feel like they would have done better with anybody else, like Newsom or, hell, at this point, Blagojevich from Illinois, while he's in prison, I feel would have probably pulled a little better than what Kamala Harris did. Now, granted, though, when push come to shove, I mean, she wasn't too far off. I think she ended up losing by like 2 million votes.
Yeah, she wasn't really that far off.
So it wasn't really right.
I know my wife really wanted her in office because of Trump making the quote-unquote allegations that he's going to take women's rights away, and then there was that whole bullshit that happened on social media that got translated into real life like it was even possible. I don't know how people fathom the thought of doing this to somebody, but walking up to a girl and saying, "Your body, my choice." I mean...
Oh, that was all from, what's his name? Oh, God, who started that stupid shit? It was quite literally one influencer.
Well, he's a bad influencer because apparently guys were doing that to girls for a while. There was even a report that Lala showed me on TikTok. The girl... I
want to say it was Aiden Ross that did that shit.
Aiden Ross, yeah, that sounds about right. She goes into Starbucks to get her drink and stuff, and a guy comes in behind, and the way she describes it is that the guy does a deep sniff and says, "Oh yeah, a lot of potential," and he's talking to himself. So she just ignores him, gets her stuff, walks to the side. He gets up to the counter, gets his stuff, and then he walks up to her, starts trying to chat her up and flirt with her, and she's, being respectful towards him, saying, "No, sorry, I'm not interested," that kind of thing. And he says, "Well, when Trump goes into office, it's going to be your body, my choice, so you might as well get used to that thought." And it made her feel uncomfortable because if men are having that mentality, that toxic masculinity mentality already, and Trump hasn't even changed anything legally, what's going to happen when it happens? A lot of people are thinking Handmaid's Tale. I don't think any of that's going to happen. Honestly, I think he did say that he was going to do things. I don't think he's going to be able to do half the things he said he was going to be able to do.
Well, that's the thing too, is he hasn't... Well, so, and I do not understand people who are going out and saying that he's trying to take away women's rights, because I've not heard him run off of anything that he's going to take anyone's rights away.
Well, the only ones he's taken rights away, quote unquote, is anyone who identifies as a female, that is a male, is not a female. It doesn't matter if they're legally, procedurally turned into a female. They are a male at birth, therefore they are a male in general. There is no people who identify as a cat. There is no people who identify as a woman, a they, them, any of that stuff. No LGBTQ plus stuff is going to be accepted under his term.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's not LGBTQ stuff. That's just transgenderism.
Well, gender identity. But, yeah, he's saying that there should only be two genders. It should be male and female. He also says that when it comes to schooling, it should be boy and girl. And you shouldn't confuse the kids by making them think they're something else.
Well, just like any video game you play, you have to start with the vanilla package first, and then if you want the extra DLCs, you got to seek that shit out.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what people are worried about. They're worried their rights are going to be taken away because he's going to shut down in vitro clinics. He's going to shut down
He's not shutting down vitro clinic. You're talking about vitro insemination?
Yeah. I mean, that's what he's...
No, he's not shutting those down.
That's what he said.
He's never even said that he was. He said he's pro-fucking vitro insemination.
Huh. I watched a video of him saying otherwise.
There's a lot of people that go around saying that he said a lot of things.
No, it was him. He was on the video. He was saying.
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely want to watch that.
I will kick all the
unless he's changed his stance on it, because I know,
he may have. The videos were recorded. You remember the first time he was supposed to be back in office, but quote unquote the ballots leaned more towards um, Biden.
Right, and then also
He
too
did
the
videos back then of his beliefs. And I believe those got circulated on Twitter.
right,
So he
yeah.
may
See, that's the
changed
thing
his
too is
mind.
like
You know, he meets a lot of people on campaigns.
Yeah, because no, I mean, I would definitely want to watch that because I've been having troubles finding some of these types of videos. Because like I also know that people are saying that, which yes, he has stated that he is wanting to keep men out of women's bathrooms, and he's trying to, keep men out of women's sports. Which I mean, that's something I do agree with. Is like, regardless of how you try to cut it, there are certain advantages that comes with being loaded with testosterone. Just like there are high testosterone women that outperform their non-high testosterone counterparts.
Yeah.
It's just the chemical makeup behind it that allows for that to be an advantage. So I can see where he's trying to keep it a level playing field in that instance. Now, granted, do I think that it should be illegal to be, transgender? Absolutely not. And if that's something he's going for, that's something that I would not go with.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either.
But because I'm from the '90s, man. I don't give a shit if you're gay, straight, black, white,
purple. Yeah.
Right, like you live your life as long as you're not fucking with me or mine. Like I don't really give a shit.
Yeah,
like
true.
Go live your life.
That's
yes. When it comes
raised,
to
though. That's like we were raised to not care about that stuff. We were
but that's the thing, though. Is
pick our friends wisely and pick our spouse wisely.
Right. Well, that's the thing, though. Is like they. And whenever I say they, I mean the government. They've been busy trying to keep America separated. The idea is it's much easier to control a mass of people if that mass of people is divided into multiple different sects.
Oh yeah.
Or not sex, but sects.
Sections. Yeah, sex.
Right.
Yeah.
If you have, 12 layers of the LGBT burrito here separated and fighting kind of amongst themselves because there are,
Oh yeah, infighting will destroy people faster than the government will.
Well, like you have, but that's the thing though. It started by the government.
Yeah, but people don't even know. Like people.
Well, like you have trans exclusionary. They're called TERFs. Radical feminists that do not believe that transgender people should be considered women because they didn't have to fight the fight of a woman their entire life.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which I can also see that too. Is like, well, okay, yeah, no.
I feel like that's more like a based elitist type of thinking, though. Like, that sounds like a boomer thing, like my dad's era.
Well, see, that's the thing, though, is like I can kind of agree with that. That's kind of like, for instance, like something that I can stand on is, I'm a Native American, right? And I'm considered a minority, right? You've got African Americans who are also in the same subsect of categorization.
Right, and you can be mistaken because you are Yuccan, right? Yuccan Indian?
Yaqui, yeah. But that's the thing, though, is like, most of the arguments is started off by some white Karen who wants to say like, "Oh, well, we should do it because it's on behalf of them." Like, my sister in Christ, I don't need your help.
I love Karens.
And I do not mean any hate towards white people. My mom's white, my wife's white, my kids are
mixed,
mostly white. Well, at this point, I mean, like I said, my mom's white, so half of me is already there. Yeah. So then now only a quarter of them even have any resemblance of a minority.
Well, see, that's what blows my mind about it. It's like when people go to talk about people with different skin color, they're not talking. The first thing that they notice is the fact that their skin color is different. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's the thing too. Is like just like Morgan Freeman stated. Racism is only alive and well because we continue to speak about it.
Exactly.
We speak it into existence in that way.
Yeah.
And just like all of a sudden how people are hating the LGBTQ burrito here, like people are only hating it because other groups of people are forcing it upon everyone else. That'd be like me, saying that, oh, hey, everyone, we have to do powwows now.
Right, and if you go against their beliefs, then you get crucified. Like, they literally insult you all the way up until your dead grandma. And these are the people that are demanding equality and respect from other people. But then when you go and have a different opinion, then your opinion's wrong. And you need to burn in hell because you can't accept people the way they are.
Yeah.
That's why I say the quote unquote woke culture. I don't believe that it's right for somebody to come out and say, I want respected, but then they turn around and disrespect people that they're wanting respect from. It's like you can't get that. Sorry. Like, that's getting your cake and eating it too. There's no such thing as that in life. Speaking of life, in September 4th, you remember what happened in the Appalachia High School?
Was it a gun shooting?
Yeah, it was that 14-year-old Colt Gray walked into the school with an assault rifle and unalived, what was it? 2 students and 2 teachers. And he was charged with second-degree murder. His dad was also, which I did not know this, I found this out when I was researching. He was also convicted for 4 counts of second-degree. Yeah, he was charged with second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter, where his son was convicted of 4 counts of felony murder. And the reason why he was convicted of second-degree murder and voluntary manslaughter is he bought the weapon for his son.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know the home life. I can only speculate on what happened, because I don't know these people personally. However, there are signs as a parent with intuition that you have for your child. You raised your child to the age of 14 years old. Have you not seen signs of psychosis? Or like your child's not just acting like a child, they're acting like a psycho? I mean, how do you not notice this? And then you turn around after your child, because apparently his son told him, something. I can't quite remember the quote of what his son told him, but basically had told him something about the school and shooting up the school, and then his dad proceeds to buy him an AR-15. So,
right.
I guess it's this was before the shooting, from an unknown source, so take this with what value you want. But the starting 5 schools would be targeted, and that Appalachian would be the first. So they're trying to say it was like a terrorist or some sort of like in-home
coordinated attack type thing.
Yeah. And then that was a call from an unknown person that was placed to the high school. And then the second call was from Gray's mother that lasted about 10 minutes and warned them of an extreme emergency and requested the administrators to locate him, but they were unable to locate her son. So she basically called them to warn them that something was going to happen. So after learning all of this, if you were to believe about the call and that it was a coordinated shooting, the dad knew what the son was going to do. The dad bought the weapon, and they did it as a revolutionary group. That's my hypothesis.
Yeah, and see, that's the sad thing about it, man. Is like some disasters you can't. You can prepare for them. You can try to notice these things about, especially when we're raising kids and stuff. Because I've got 5.
Right, but I don't know.
You would have to be pretty ignorant of not noticing the state of mind your child is in, at least from how I currently see it. Granted, though, my children, none of them have gone and blown anything away.
Right, see, but that's the thing. The dad had signs. The dad had signs.
Oh, yeah, I would have to say, yeah, he definitely did have signs. Just,
if people are saying it's a coordinated attack, I feel like the dad knew. The dad knew what the son was going to do because it was coordinated with him and his group. And as long as he didn't pull the trigger, he didn't have to worry about it.
Yep. No, but those types of situations, I strongly do believe that the father, the mother, both of them should be charged.
I agree, because there's no way you didn't see that your child needed help. And that's another thing. It's like, children these days, they have more help than we did. Lala was cleaning the other day. I was playing Elden Ring on my Asus ROG Ally in bed, just keeping her company. And she found an old document of an IEP for one of my school in 5th grade teachers saying that my penmanship needed work and all this other stuff. But one of the things that was in the document that blew my mind is has anxiety and depression. At the age of what? I was 5th grade, so...
Well, you're going through a lot of shit that period of time.
Years old. Well,
so I could see that.
Yeah, but like back then, what was the medication you took for anxiety and depression? Nothing.
Ritalin?
No, nothing. This was before Ritalin was created.
No, Ritalin's been around for decades.
Well, it's...
Just because they didn't prescribe it to you doesn't mean we didn't have it. It just means you didn't have the money for it.
Well, yeah, that's probably the case as well. We were pretty poor. I mean, my favorite thing was a bologna taco.
Hey, don't feel bad, man. I got like a whole, like, jacked up teeth thing because we didn't have the money for it. So, I get it.
Well, it was also another thing, like, my dad he was raised... Even if you have a problem, you keep your mouth shut. You deal with it. You overcome it. It makes you stronger. So when it comes to the depression and anxiety, instead of getting the help that I needed, they just swept it on the rug and said, "Oh, just ignore it. It'll go away. You'll grow out of it." But now...
Well, you know what they can't sweep under the rug?
What?
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, but now kids have those resources, but they're not wanting to utilize them.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't make
sure.
sense to me. It's like, if you know something's wrong with you, you know you're depressed, you know you have ADHD, ADD, anxiety, or anything like that, why would you not go to your parents and be like, hey, I might need a little bit of help? I mean, it's not bad to ask for help. So why is this generation trying to act like our generation where we just was told to suck it up or grow out of it?
Well, see, me personally, I think there's a lot of things that you can just kind of grow out of and kind of deal with, bluntly.
Yeah, I agree.
There are things that I don't think that you do need, grade A level help with. Like, if you find minors attractive, then yeah, you need to go and find yourself a cozy little shrink that's going to get that drilled out of your head before something else gets drilled into your head.
Well, yeah,
but
and I agree with that. When it comes to stuff like that, like the way people's minds work, like if I was to
the fact that they've got a cute little name like Maps just to spread awareness, it's like
Maps.
What kind of minor attracted people?
Huh.
There's a whole subsect of the LGBTQ arm that is trying to protect them. Now, granted, it is a small fraction, and the majority of the LGBTQ completely dismiss the MAP subsect. But
well, see, that's the thing. People gotta accept the fact it's not the 1800s anymore. We live longer than what the life expectancy was when we were taking on 11-year-olds as our wives. Because the longest that a man would be able to survive was a little past 30. Because of all the harsh shit that we had to do. This was way before we had railroads. It was way before... Like, this was when we first originally started our colonies. We were going out and we were hauling big-ass trees as a group. Just with our bare hands. And I don't mean limbs. I mean the whole fucking trunk of the tree. The entire tree. So that we can build houses and we could construct roofs and we could get shelter for the ones that we love and care about. So back then, being married to an 11-year-old was very common because there's the possibility you're going out into the woods that day with your buddies and getting bit by a timber rattler and not coming home because they didn't have anti-venom back then. And then there's also the different diseases that we brought with us from Europe and then that we encountered when we came to America that wiped out men and women, children alike. So back then, yeah, I get it. You're 20 years old, you're 28 years old, and you marry an 11-year-old to continue your bloodline, to continue to try and keep population growth. Cool. We're past that. We're done with that. We don't need that. That was a survival tactic. So people who have that mentality, I feel like they've been indoctrinated to have that mentality. Because we're way past that mentality.
You know what another survival tactic is?
What's that?
Being far away from the ocean and being in middle America. Otherwise, just like, some unfortunate people here this last September, they got to meet Hurricane Helene.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
That was an absolute catastrophic event, and the fact that the U.S. government decided to do jack diddly shit for them is another reason why I feel that there are misappropriated funds.
We didn't have the funds
worldwide.
Yeah.
Bullshit! If we didn't have the funds, we've been funding Ukraine and Israel, Pakistan, or not Pakistan, Palestine.
That's why we didn't have the funds. We were giving our funds to other
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
but here's the thing, though.
Have natural disasters every year.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, a week later, after Helene happened, like, they did another, like, $100 million plus bill to Ukraine.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like...
It's like, what the hell? Like, woohoo! We got $750 or however much it was per person.
Every year, it's the same shit. We get hit with tornadoes and hurricanes every year, and yet we're we instead are just throwing our money to resource like other causes that aren't even related to our country.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me why they do that. It's I mean, when it comes to the last hurricane, what one was it? The one that hit Florida and North Carolina really hard?
That was Hurricane Helene.
Was it Helene? They eventually did start sending people down as rescue and to help out people. You could donate blankets, clothing, stuff like that.
But that's the thing, though. Like, we've already seen it in action that they can send out money to help compensate. The fact that the compensation was less than $1,000 for people who lost their entire homes and livelihoods. It's like, what the hell?
Right.
Like, that's a slap in the face. That's like a kick in the dick. That's
that's the
immeasurable.
What's the word I'm looking for? That's why we have trust issues with our government. Right there.
It's
like,
that is
if
why we don't trust our government.
To us, we need to know that our government has our back. That's like...
Well, it obviously doesn't. I don't know if you know about these great people like JFK or MLK or...
Oh, yeah.
You know, but...
JFK...
Yeah, they were helped by the government very well.
Yeah, but then somebody somewhere wanted more power and took them out.
Yeah, called our government.
Yeah, it's called our government.
I did not say that. That is not to be on the record. FBI watchmen watching me right now.
Listening.
I know you're out there.
They're not watching. Well, maybe they are watching.
I don't know. They got me a big ass window behind me. They're definitely watching. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, man. It makes me disappointed in our government that we would help other people in other countries, but can't even help ourselves. Like did you hear about how bad New York is? There's homeless people that got kicked out of the subway tunnels because of how many people are homeless in New York. Some of them...
Oh, yeah, man. It's California 2.0 right now.
Well, yeah, like, some of it's drug dependency, some of it's they just don't have the way to survive, so then they could never get back on their feet. Does our government step in to help them like they in other countries? No. No, we're too busy trying to fight wars that don't mean nothing to us, that have no actual value for the American people. It has value for our government. It makes our government look good, and our government probably gets brownie points or some sort of power shift over into our favor. It doesn't help the American people in living, though. You know, so it just doesn't make sense to me why, as Americans, as people who have the freedom, we haven't protested something like that. We'll protest Luigi Mangione, but we won't protest us giving money to a country when our country needs the help.
Right. Yeah, no, I know it.
It doesn't...
It's wild.
2 and 2 is not equaling 4 there, and it just... It
definitely equals fish,
though. It disappoints me. On a lighter topic, though, October 11th, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero released. For those who are Dragon Ball Z nerds like me, I think I was 10 years old, 9 years old, when I first discovered Dragon Ball Z on Cartoon Network late at night. You had to be up until like 11 o'clock at night to watch. And it was Dragon Ball Z, Space Ghost, Coast to Coast.
Inuyasha,
yeah. So when I finally saw, and I know...
C-Lab 2021.
Yeah, C-Lab 2021. That's such a weird show. Watching it now as an adult, like, a lot of those shows is like, well, how did I find that entertaining as a kid? You had to have been higher on acid, or both.
Yeah.
So, for those who don't know what Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is, there was... Bandai Namco Entertainment and the creators of the Dragon Ball Z games, and they created one called Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. And this is basically Budokai Tenkaichi 4, just with a different name.
Well, actually, it's the original translation from. So, the way that it all panned out was back in the day, there used to be a Dragon Ball Tenkaichi game, right?
Yeah, there's Tenkaichi.
Well, then, after the Tenkaichi games were released, because if I remember right, there were 3 iterations of that. Well, then they went to a more full 3D fighting style,
which is Budokai,
and brought out the Budokai Tenkaichi. Well, originally it was in Japan called Sparking. Of course, I mean I don't know how to say Sparking in Japanese, so that's why I'm saying Sparking. But yeah, it was like Sparking Meteor, Sparking Neo.
Oh, okay. So Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is. Okay.
Just a iteration of the true Japanese
way of saying the
translation.
Games.
Right.
That's cool. No, I did not know that. That is really neat.
Yep. I am a real Dragon Ball nerd.
yeah, apparently, because I didn't know that one. So for those who don't really watch the series, this is a good game to get involved in because you get all the characters that are currently in the canon and non-canon franchise of Dragon Ball Z universe. Also, there's pivotal moments. So, like, if you haven't watched the episodes, you can still play the game, and it follows the storyline of the game without all the filler episodes in between. So, if you want to know more about the Dragon Ball Z franchise, you can do so by just playing the storyline of all the characters. And I think that's really neat that they did that so that people who, they know a little bit of it, they're not too familiar on the lore and stuff, or they, it's been years since they've remembered, how storylines of them have went. They're able to pick up the game, play it, and then there's no filler episodes they have to force themselves to go through, like, I don't know, 5 fucking episodes of Goku in a pod flying to Namek. I mean, finally he got there, and then he gets turned into a frog.
Right, I mean, and then he spends 4 more episodes
as a damn frog, yeah. And then everyone's like, we've been waiting on him to get here this entire time to watch him kick Frieza's ass, and you guys turn him into a frog for 4 more episodes. I remember being heated when I watched that, because when I was watching it, I had to wait for the next episode to come out. There wasn't just
and then not to mention 8 more episodes of him transforming.
Oh, yeah, and then those filler episodes damn near killed me when I was watching that anime.
Yeah. I feel like they could have went a little more in depth in the story, though. I feel like
there was moments in there they could have really, brought out more of it, but.
Yeah, I need to get caught up in Daima.
Yeah, Daima is something I still have to do as well. But yeah, Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero released, and it is great. I've played it. I like it. I'm going to get all the achievements in it eventually. I say that with question because it's not an easy game. It's a hard game.
Yeah, I can't wait till Beast Gohan comes out.
Oh yeah, Beast Gohan. Oh man, yeah, he's missing, and Golden Piccolo's missing.
I think he's Orange Piccolo.
Orange. Orange Piccolo's missing. It's Golden Frieza.
Yeah, no.
And then there's...
We got Golden Frieza.
No. Golden Frieza is who I was thinking of.
Oh, gotcha.
I said Golden Piccolo. It's Orange Piccolo, Beast Gohan, and then there's that new guy. But he's in the manga.
Cell Max?
Huh?
You talking about Cell Max?
Well, Cell Max is the one for Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo, but I'm referring to the guy who lives on Planet Garlic and the new manga for the continuance of Dragon Ball Z Super. There's a new Super Saiyan. I can't.
Oh, are you talking about Planet Surreal?
Yeah, Planet Surreal. I can't.
I was say Garlic is a bad guy.
Yeah, Garlic. Yeah. Been watching Dragon Ball lately.
Yeah, but with God, what's his name?
Can't remember.
It starts with a G.
It's Garlic, isn't it? No.
No. It's
Ganondorf.
No, not Ganondorf. Yeah. Let's see, because there's a few of them. Let's see.
All right. Who is the Cyrillian granola?
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
granola. And so far, I mean, I hear he's on par with Ultra Instinct Goku.
Oh, see, I'm fully caught up with the manga, so yeah, no, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't read the manga. I haven't caught up on that manga. I just know that from what I've heard, he's on par with Ultra Instinct Goku, which is crazy because he never, according to his backstory, he never really hung out with other Saiyans off his own world. You know? And
the whole story behind him is pretty good. I mean, I don't want to ruin anything for you.
I would appreciate that not being ruined because,
it's pretty good. Yeah, no, I definitely recommend going and checking out the manga for that one. But for those of you that are tired of the nerdy stuff in this world, seeing as I also had Dragon Ball Sparking Zero wrote down that election results in November for Trump winning. That was some pretty wild stuff. I think nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, my wife was
for
very
everybody almost
disappointed. She was upset for a couple days.
I feel a little more disappointed in your wife for not catching on to the way America was catching on.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, after the Trump assassination attempt, everyone knew that Trump was going to win.
Oh yeah. I
don't
get
me wrong. I understand that she may be. I'm not sure what her whole stance is on why what women's rights she thinks is being taken away.
I don't know. I think people went down a rabbit hole and they believed things that were inaccurate, 100% inaccurate. There is the one thing that she did bring up, and I have yet to read it. I need to read it. Excuse me. And that is the what's it called? It's the 2015. No, that's not it. I'm trying to find it. Give me a second.
Oh, Project 2025.
Yeah, Project 2025. Yeah, you can read the PDF in its entirety for free online. Just go to Google and type in Project 2025 PDF, and it's no holds barred. You can read everything that happens in it. I read couple pages.
Trump has also dismissed Project 2025.
Oh no! Apparently, it's supposed to come out. That's what women are believing.
Well, right, but that's what I'm saying though. Is Trump has came out multiple times, just like people are wanting him to go and say that he is not for the KKK, and he vehemently, disagrees with them.
Mm-hmm.
He has went on tape saying that 1,000 fucking times.
But yeah, but people would rather
and just like he has gone on
racism around him because they don't like him.
Well, right, well, that's also the other thing too. Is Project 2025, he has gone and dismissed 1,000 different times, and it's just another one of those things where people are being fed one side of the information and only seeing half the picture. Just like back whenever Trump had made that announcement after the Summer of Love, or during the Summer of Love, whenever it was white people, black people, and some radicals that were all there, and he had stated that there were good people on both sides of the aisle. He was speaking that there were good black people, there were good white people, there were good, people that were the pro-BLM movement, there were people that are good on the side that was all lives matter.
Mm-hmm.
But he said in that same speech that he disagrees and disavows the the fascists and the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists that were amongst those people. He said he completely disavowed them. However, every time you see someone pull up that video, it seems that is the last thing that he says in that speech. They cut it out.
Oh yeah, you can clip him to make him sound like he's the most worst man on the universe. You could do the same with our entire conversation. Just clip parts that you want to make us look bad. Like that's what people. I don't like to use the word sheep a lot. I just feel like we do live with a lot of sheep. And they'd rather believe what they're being fed than do research. Instead of taking the initiative, they would rather just accept it for what it is, and then, even if it is wrong, they'll die on that hill. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I just find all of it hilarious. Like,
well, it's quite amusing, but I don't know. It's kind of frustrating too, because it's like, come on, guys. How long have you been alive? Seriously?
right.
You know, like, how are you going to think what someone says without any factual evidence is true? I don't know. That blows my mind. But for my November, on the 23rd, and this is going to bring us to a different continent, to a different country. In Barcelona, Spain, they had a full-on protest because the landlords were raising rent for the people there, and they were paying up to 40% of their income on rent alone. So it's like literally they work 40 hours a week in order to just have a place to have over their head. That doesn't include food. That doesn't include, necessities. So,
right.
2,200 people demanded lower housing rental prices and better living conditions, and the politicians of their country have chosen to do nothing to change the prices. So,
see, that's what Americans should do, man. I hear it all the time. People are griping about their rental costs and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's true. It could be, but when AI came out, apparently there's this app on your phone that you can use, and you can walk around your entire house, and it will take measurements of your entire house and then give you a book value on how much you can rent out that place. And people are doing that. People are using that AI program, that application, to set their rent rates for their house or condos or B&Bs, stuff like that. And it's really screwed the housing market. Because
that's wild.
People, instead of paying $350, well, the app and the AI program says this is worth $550. So I'm putting it as like $550.
Right.
And people are paying those prices because they need a place to live. They don't want to be homeless. Who wants to be homeless? You want some sort of safety and security. And that's another thing. It's like people back in the day used to sell people houses, like rent to own type situations. Now, if you're living in a house and they decide to sell, you got to move out. Like, you don't get the option to buy it from them, even though you've been paying them for years. Let's say you've been there for 6 years paying your landlord. By the time you got done on your 5th year, you should have had the entire house paid off. The only problem is people who, don't have good credit or have low credit, they don't get the opportunity to get to buy a house.
Yeah.
And so, because they're not able to purchase a house and pay monthly, they got to rent. And it's like somebody I know, she is renting a 2-bedroom, 1-bath for $550 a month. And it's a small apartment.
No, that's not bad at all. $550?
Yeah, $550 a month. It's a small apartment. It's government housing. It goes off her income. And if she gets promoted, because she was talking about taking a promotion, if she gets promoted, then she will lose her place. Because she won't be under the bar that she needs to be. It's the same thing with our medical insurance. If we make too much, then we can't get medical unless we pay for it. If we make too little, then we can get it for free. But if you're right in the middle, where you don't make enough to pay for it, but you don't make enough to not get it for free, you're screwed. You're absolutely 100% screwed. Which...
Yep.
A lot of people are screwed. So when it comes to, income and housing market in America and stuff, we're not the only country that has to deal with these issues. The people in Spain, they protested to have their voice heard about the living conditions, the rental prices getting lowered. I think we should do the same thing about our groceries.
No kidding.
Another one is electric companies. Do you know how reliant we have to be on them? Everything runs off electricity. I mean, even this whole conversation that we've been having for TumidTalks runs on electricity. Yet they're like, oh, well, we decided to raise our rates. Why?
Yeah,
Why?
Yeah, pretty much.
Why? We consume the same amount of electricity as we did last year. Why the fuck did you raise the rates? It's so that they can get more money. And it doesn't make sense to me. It's like, you would rather screw your fellow American, your fellow brother or sister, than to line your pockets to make sure that you are able to get that 4-star restaurant meal instead of, a 2-star restaurant meal. Or hell, McDonald's that people can hardly afford anymore. And you're okay with that kind of, like, what's it called? Empathy? Like, you're that empathetic towards people that's you. Like, the narcissism is ridiculous. And that's just one utility. Like, there's other things like I discussed tonight, like insurance on your car and.
Yep, it's all wild.
Well, I mean, and it's not in our country. It's not only in our country. The only thing that's different between like Barcelona, Spain, and them rioting, or protesting for their living conditions, we're able to do the same thing, except we have stronger voices because we have freedom of speech. There are certain things that we can't say. With fear of, people reporting threats or what's it called, treason. But we can talk about how the government doesn't step in when corporations are becoming too greedy, and we're barely able to make it. So either they need to give us more so we can give more to the greedy bastards, or stop the greedy bastards from making us need more. I mean, it's that simple.
Oh, yeah.
On a lighter note, though, on December 13th, there was the World Chess Championship. And a grandmaster at the age of 12, he started playing when he was 7. His name's Gugesh Damaraju. I think I'm saying that right. It's Indian. But he is
well, if you didn't say it right, it sounded amazing.
Oh, thanks. He's the undefeated chess master to this day, and he was 17 when he hit a high score rating on the International Chess Federation charts. He's peak ranking of number 4, so like number 4th in the world. even though he is an undefeated chess master. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I was like, I've never heard of this guy. I mean, to start at 7 years old and understand the game of chess, I wonder what else the guy does. Like, does he just play chess? Because I know it's considered a sport, so you do get sponsors.
My imagination. Right, yeah, like there's financial reason behind it, and also too, like I'm sure he's playing other statistics based games.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's like the other day I was watching somebody who was, he was juggling and solving 3 Rubik's cubes at the same time while juggling them.
Well,
and each alternating throw, you could see him shift the top of the Rubik's Cube. And eventually he got all 3 of them done. Took him 4 minutes and 30 seconds. World record. For juggling 3 Rubik's Cubes and solving them at the same time. I was like, I can't even process how to do that. Like, I have a hard time focusing on certain things without being like, squirrel. Shiny.
Right. Yeah, I know I sure shit can do that.
Yeah. So what'd you get for December?
Well, for me, we've actually got news of the Treasury being hacked by a company based out of China.
Really? The U.S. Treasury?
It happened like, I think, December 30th or something like that. I think that's around the time I heard about it anyways.
Okay. So, was it kind of like the Stuxnet worm, where it was a marksman worm, or?
No, so it was, from what I understand, was that they just, if I remember correctly, it started off with, like, some phone companies and other telecommunication companies. The only one that wasn't really affected by it was T-Mobile, but like the other big name ones like Verizon and stuff, I guess they leaked out some information which allowed them to get a hold of some government phones that also was able to get a hold of the Treasury or something like that. It's a little convoluted, but it's
cyber warfare.
It's definitely. Oh yeah. And see, that's the thing too. Is I think the more we go along, the likelihood of actual true war goes down. Just because I think everyone understands, like, the weapons that we have now are just too diabolical to actually use. But
well, I have to agree and disagree with that. I believe it was Japan who said it. Yeah, it was Japan. They said that they may not be able to beat America in show of force. However, they can beat us in technology. And right now, everything is ran off computers. Like, if it's not ran off computers, it's ran off a Wi-Fi network that is connected to it. You may not be able to get into the actual device itself for programming it. However, there are people out there that can use that network connection and tunnel their way in to do severe harm or severe damage to the actual program or software that you're using. So even if you, like, let's say you're using a touchscreen at work and you have no way to do anything else except log in your information to, make sales transactions, there's somebody who can connect a keyboard to it and play with the programming in it because it's connected to a network. So when it comes to other countries, I feel like they have better technology than we do. And it makes me afraid, and it's probably a reason why TikTok is going to be shut down, is because we're showing a lot more to other countries because of us having TikTok than they're able to show to us. I mean, you can go on there and find people who are in the military doing TikToks, like doing TikTok dances and stuff like that. Even just looking at that one video, you could decipher, what they're doing there, or if they're in full dress uniform, or if they're in full combat gear, and then there's been times that I've heard there was a guy who posted a video on Facebook, and he pretty much leaked his information of what location they were at, and they were in Afghanistan. I think it was when we invaded Iraq or Afghanistan, one of the two. And because he posted it, he compromised their position, and a bunch of bombs got dropped on their location because he posted that video on Facebook, and the enemy saw it, and they were like, "Oh, we know where that coordinates is," because he wasn't paying attention to the background details when he posted the video. So with technology, you can tactfully strike, and people wouldn't even know what's going on. Like nukes or something. Sure. Nukes destroy, damage. It doesn't matter if you run or hide. You will get some fallout from a nuclear explosion. However, a full worldwide EMP, or just a big EMP in the middle of a country these days, is enough to collapse the entire country.
Oh, yeah.
So, my way of looking at it is, hopefully we stay up on the technology of things, because if we don't, and other countries get ahead of us, there's a possibility that a Red Dawn could take place. Especially since we're one of the only countries that I can think of that has the right to bear arms. Like, you hear about people getting mugged in England, but not by a gun. It's normally by knife. Yeah. So we got guns. We get mugged by guns. And if that gun accidentally goes off and the person didn't mean to kill somebody, they just took a life because they wanted extra money in their pocket, or they needed diapers for their baby, whatever drove that person to do that particular act of violence. But if we do lose our guns because of how many countries we've pissed off over the years, I think we'd be invaded immediately.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
And we'd be absolutely screwed because we wouldn't have any way to protect ourselves.
Right.
Except for, those really, really badass diehard guys who are like, what guns? I don't own any guns. And then they got like 300 guns in their barn, none of them registered. Those are the guys we want. Those are the ones we want around.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Man, what a crazy 2024 it's been.
Yeah, no, 2024 has definitely been a roller coaster of emotions, and just been absolutely wild. And I'm not sure if I should be proud that I existed during it or not.
It has changed. The world has changed. And just ever since the pandemic lifted in America, people have been less, what's the word I'm looking for? Nice to each other. It's more of a
damn it, COVID.
Every man for themselves type of thing. Well, I mean, if you want to look at it as damn it COVID, you can look at it as damn it COVID. There's some people that look at it like damn it government.
Or other people are like, damn it China.
Yeah, other people are like, damn it China. Yeah, see, it's like, who do you blame for that one? All I know is that the government said it's not a good idea to leave your house, so people didn't. I get that COVID was a real thing. I mean, I experienced someone passing away from COVID, so that was something. The premise of it just being a virus that was leaked by China, I don't buy it. Like, I really don't. How do you not know you're contagious and come to New York from China?
Exactly.
Because there's one person who carries the virus, one person who is ground zero when it comes to biological warfare, and that one person knew exactly what they were doing when they walked into the New York airport. And that's where I got hit the most, was in New York. And then it's
And that is a perfect segue to our next episode of Conspiracy Theories of 2024.
Oh yeah, we're doing a conspiracy theory now.
I guess, I don't know.
They go down that
people
rabbit
say
hole.
People say the things you're saying, they could be conspiratorial.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to find out, huh? We'll see how this episode does, and
does that make people sheep or wolves?
Go forward. I think it makes them all monkeys.
Monkeys, I like it, yeah.
And I'm sure someone's going to call me racist for saying that.
Probably.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're out of here. We're going to go to... Well, actually, my daughter woke up, so I'm going to go put her to sleep. But
yeah, I'm going to go to bed.
We'll catch you all next time. Yeah. Nighty-night. Sleep it tight.
Yeah, if you guys liked it, please comment, subscribe, click the notification bell. We're going to be doing one of these every week. And if you did enjoy the video and you're just somebody from, let's say, our future, where we have millions of subscribers, and you're just going back to the origins of TumidTalks, then watch this video if you liked it, because it's similar. Or this one if you want, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Matter of fact, if there's anyone here at this point, I want you to go down in the comment section and type macaroon.
Macaroon, I like it.
Why? I don't know, but do it.
Hey, then we'll know.